Be Jake Foundation, $100,000. Racing for Heroes, Inc., $200,000. Support Siouxland Soldiers, $100,000. Task Force Dagger Foundation, $50,000. The Mission Continues, $75,000. The National Military Family Association, Inc., $75,000. Veterans Airlift Command, $100,000. Veterans Count, $25,000. Veterans in Command, Inc., $150,000. Vietnam Veterans Workshop, Inc., $75,000. Warriors for Freedom Foundation, $50,000. And I believe we're going to have some more coming in. Some friends of mine, some more coming in. And that adds up to $6 million. Well, let's see. That adds up to $5,600,000 total. And we're going to have some more coming in. So that's it. Now, thank you. Thank you. Every one of those checks has been passed, other than the one check, which is being held subject to their getting a final approval from the government. But every one of those checks has been passed. This is my check for $1 million. We have many letters from the different groups thanking us very much for the money. And they didn't ask, and I didn't ask people to be here today. I could have asked every one of the groups, unlike Hillary, who asked people to stand outside and say, oh, Donald Trump didn't give the money. Nobody gave this kind of money. So I gave $5,600,000. More is coming in, probably tops the $6 million number. I never thought we were going to raise $1 million when we started, and we end up doing almost $6 million. So I have to tell you, the press is so dishonest and so unfair. A lot of the people behind me and some of the people over here helped in vetting the various requests for money. And I just want to thank all of those people. Yes? Yeah. Some of those that you mentioned are very well known, others are a little bit more obscure. How did you work through that? I wasn't too involved in picking the organizations, other than I gave $1 million to the Marine, the law enforcement Marine. They are fabulous people. They honored me last year at the Waldorf Astoria. I knew them. I was going to give it to 3 companies or 3 groups, and we couldn't vet them quickly. And so I gave it to the Marine. And if you look at that number, the Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation is a fabulous group, and I didn't have to go through a big vetting process with them because I was going to split the $1 million check up among 3 or 4 different groups, and in the end I just didn't want to go through the process of having to vet all those different groups. Because I wanted to make this out of the goodness of my heart. I didn't want to do this where the press is all involved. And all of a sudden, everybody's going, where did it go? Who did it go to? Then we said who it went to. Then we said, how much was it? We gave, look, when this started, I think you were there. I said, if we could raise $1 million, that would be good. And we ended up raising almost $6 million. And I'm going to have more coming in over a period of time.
Don't you believe you should be accountable to people?
Oh, I'm totally accountable. But I didn't want to have credit for it. Now, actually, though, what I got was worse than credit because they were questioning me. And this is money. And by the way, most of that money went out very early, just so you understand. But a lot of these groups getting vetted by, when you pay the money out, they need government documentation. They need a lot of different things. Plus, we want to find out, is it a good group? I had teams of people reviewing statistics, reviewing numbers, and also talking to people in the military to find out whether or not the group was deserving of the money. We have given to groups that are unbelievable groups. And honestly, I wish you could hear the phone calls and see the letters. They are so happy. And I'm happy to do it. I didn't want the credit for it, but it was very unfair that the press treated us so badly. Yeah, go ahead. Well, generally speaking, that's 100% true. Go ahead.
I disagree with that, sir. And if I can ask you this question, it seems as though you're resistant to scrutiny, the kind of scrutiny that comes with running for president of the United States.
I like scrutiny, but you know what? When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. When I raise money for the veterans, and it's a massive amount of money, find out how much Hillary Clinton's given to the veterans, nothing. And then I see a few guys standing out there. They don't even know what they're there for. They have no idea. They're there because Hillary Clinton's campaign sent them. And actually, I think it was you or one of you that found out that they actually were with Hillary Clinton's campaign, which was interesting, but I wasn't surprised. I don't want the credit for it, but I shouldn't be lambasted. And remember this. So out of the almost $6 million that was raised, not one penny did I take for administration costs. That's unheard of. Okay.
Why do you continue to attack the press?
In all fairness, when you talk about not wanting to get credit for this, you did host a very public fundraiser that was televised.
How else am I going to raise the money?
Sorry?
How else am I going to raise the money?
What I'm asking, I guess, is when you did this fundraiser, it was televised, you were doing
Sure.
instead of doing the debate, it received wide attention. Some
Sure.
say that it may have helped your
I would have given this out, just so you understand, until I was criticized. So I'm the only one in the world could raise almost $6 million for the veterans, have uniform applause by the veterans groups, and end up being criticized by the press. Yes, I made a speech, and during my speech I said, let's raise a little money for the vets. It turned out to be a lot of money, not a little money. I thought if we could get to $1 million, it would be great, which it would have been.
But since then, you've repeatedly touted the fact that you raised millions
That's right.
of dollars for veterans.
That's right.
You're not taking
I do raise millions. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah.
Mr. Trump, writing $1 million check is incredibly generous, but the night of that Iowa fundraiser, you said you had raised $6 million. Clearly you had not. Your critics say you tend to exaggerate, you have a problem with truth. Is this a prime example?
No, I raised almost $6 million. Some of it didn't come through, but more money is coming through than didn't come through. The number probably is going to be, when we finish it, probably going to be over the $6 million. Yeah.
Why exaggerate?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good to see you, sir. So to follow up a little bit on what Jim was saying, you do realize that when the Democrats are out there raising questions about this money, the press is also reflecting what your opposition is saying about you. It's not just us throwing questions at you, because it's coming from some of them.
I don't mind it coming from the opposition, though, Carl. What I do mind is when I raise all of these millions, and when we started out, nobody ever thought it was going to be over 5 million or close to 6.
But what you're doing is you're answering the questions now that we had back then. It was just a
All right, so look, here's the story. Here's the story. I think, and I've been dealing with the press a long time, I think the political press is among the most dishonest people that I've ever met. I have to tell you that, okay? Of course, you're excluded, Carl. But I think the political press, you're in the middle. I think the political press, I see the stories and I see the way they're couched. For instance, I went down this weekend to do Rolling Thunder. I was invited. I didn't have anything to do with it. We had a tremendous gathering of people, thousands, I don't know how many, but many thousands of people. And I joked, I thought we were going to go from the Jefferson Memorial to the Lincoln. I was joking. They said Donald Trump was disappointed. Everybody knew I was being sarcastic and joking. They said, some of them said Donald Trump was very disappointed that it didn't go from Jefferson to Lincoln, millions of people. I was joking. I said, I'm used to watching it. I was joking. So they put it down as serious. They know I was joking. I'll give you another example. We had the same event. It was roped off where you could only get so many people there. And there were a lot of people. I don't know, 10,000, 15, maybe 25,000. I don't know, it was a lot of people. Plus there were people breaking the seams all the way along. Gene Washington, a man I like actually, wrote an article like there was 5,000 people there. There were many times that. And you weren't allowed to have any more people. And all of these people were with their motorcycles in parking lots all the way. They're waving to me as I'm going by. But wait a minute. The point is, law enforcement, these people, didn't allow you to have any more people. I think the press knew that. I had a tremendous crowd, but it was the biggest crowd you could have had because it was all cordoned off. You weren't allowed to have any more. They weren't allowed to have any more people than they had. So instead of saying Trump made a speech in front of a packed crowd, they said Trump was disappointed because I didn't have millions of people going from Jefferson to Washington. I mean, give me a break. It's just, honestly, it's dishonest reporting. Yeah, go ahead. No, go. Well, the veterans believe me. Let me tell you the veterans why they believe. And I have one group was here that I gave. Is Al Baldessero here? Maybe you want to say, this is a group I gave money to. Now, I could have asked all these groups. He just showed up. I just saw him. But I could have asked all these groups to come here, and they could have made, I didn't want to do that. I'm not looking for credit. But what I don't want is when I raise millions of dollars, have people say, like this sleazy guy right over here from ABC. He's a sleaze in my book. You're a sleaze because you know the facts and you know the facts well. Go ahead. You might say something.
Thank you, Mr. Trump. First of all, for the record, I'm a state representative from New Hampshire, 10 years on the Veterans Affairs Committee, 22 years in the Marine Corps, retired First Sergeant. What I want to clarify here, first of all, I would never, ever in a million years put my name on a candidate that did not, from his heart, look me in the eye and tell me he's concerned about veterans. That's Donald Trump. I met him over a year ago. I've been involved with many fundraisers. There are many scam artists out there. He did the right thing by vetting these groups there. If you look at some of the groups, they're giving 20 cents, 40 cents on the dollar, and they're spending the rest for, their, nice lavish trips. He gave 100%. The liberal media is the only ones that have been calling me on the foundation. All right, I'm the former chairman. I've been dealing with this stuff for years as a veterans activist. Stop using veterans as political pawns. You got a guy outside McCoy. Go do a Google search on his Facebook. He's out there, his pictures with Clinton. They are using veterans as political pawns. It must stop. Donald Trump is doing this for the heart. You're all focused on the way he's raising money, and you're not looking at the 22 veterans that are killing each other every day. You're not concerned about the thousands of veterans that are on wait lists. Look at his plan on his Trump's website. He talks about medical cards. He talks about fixing the VA. He talks about competition. I think the liberal media, and I've been dealing with you a long time, need to get your head out of your butt, focus on the real issues. Thank you.
What I did is, I didn't ask Al. I've gotten to know Al a little bit, primarily through New Hampshire, where we had great victories. But he showed up this morning because he was upset, and many of the other groups are very upset. They received $100,000 in the mail. They didn't even know what it was for. It was from me. Other groups received $200,000, $250,000, $250,000. They didn't know what it was for. And I have, again, upstairs, I have received phone calls with people crying. I have received letters, heartfelt letters. And, it really, the bad part about the dishonesty of the media is that people like me will be inclined not to do it anymore. Because why should you raise $5.6 million, and I think I'll go over $6 million pretty easily. Nobody said that we started this out as a small little project where it was less than $1 million because it just kept mushrooming and building, but nobody talks about that. So we raised $5.6 million. We have so many happy groups, so many happy veterans. And then I see these guys, these Hillary Clinton people outside. Now, of course, they don't know the extent. They probably figured, based on reading the press, that Trump didn't raise this kind of money. But we raised a lot, and I'll be raising more, and we'll be sending it to other people as we get along. It's a complicated process, yeah. No, it doesn't. It really, the government sort of approves different groups for a lot of reasons. And so it really does. And more than anything else, it's also speaking to other veterans. We have a circle of veterans, and who's good for it. I don't want to send a $250,000 check to a group that doesn't do good work. So it's called vetting. We vet the vets, but it's called vetting. No, I think that it's bothersome because I love the vets, and I've worked hard for the vets. And as you can see, I've given a lot of money and raised a lot of money for the vets. And I think when the press portrays it differently, the press is being very dishonest. So I don't like that. I don't like dishonesty. Not you. Go ahead. Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions is a fantastic man. Jeff Sessions is one of the most highly respected people in the United States Senate. Jeff Sessions is a person that I believe that Ted Cruz just has the most respect for, and I think Ted thought that he would get an endorsement. Jeff Sessions has never endorsed a presidential candidate before, as many years as he's been in the Senate. So, Jeff Sessions certainly is somebody that I would consider, absolutely. He's a fantastic person. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Trump, one of the biggest stories from this weekend was the situation at the Cincinnati Zoo.
gorilla who was holding a 4-year-old boy. How do you feel about
I think it's a very tough call. It was amazing because there were moments with the gorilla, the way he held that child, it was almost like a mother holding a baby. Looked so beautiful and calm. And there were moments where it looked pretty dangerous. I don't think they had a choice. I mean, probably they didn't have a choice. You have a child, a young child is at stake, and it's too bad there wasn't another way. I thought it was so beautiful to watch that, powerful, almost 500-pound gorilla, the way he dealt with that little boy. But it just takes 1 second. It's 1 second. It's not like it takes place over, well, he's going to do it in 30 seconds from now. It just takes one little flick of his finger, and I will tell you, they probably had no choice. Go ahead. I'm in favor of fixing the VA healthcare. VA is one of the great catastrophes in this country, what's going on. You look at what's happening in Phoenix and different places throughout the country where they're catching people stealing and they don't even fire them, where people are waiting 5 days, 6 days, 7 days online. They're dying while they wait online. And I am in favor of, if they can't get to a doctor within a reasonable period of time, they're going to go see a doctor and the country's going to pay for it. They're going to go to a private doctor or a public hospital or public doctor, but someplace that can take care of them immediately. We're losing thousands of people waiting online. And the Veterans Administration is run by Obama just as incompetently as he's running our country. You look at the TSA, you look at what's going on at the airports. And you look at that, okay? Just take a look at that. That's like the Veterans Administration. Nothing in our country works anymore. It's a mess. And maybe that's why I'm doing so well in the polls, yes. No, it doesn't have to be privatization. No, it doesn't have to be privatization. What it has to be is when somebody's online and they say it's a 7-day wait, that person's going to walk over to across the street to a private doctor, be taken care of. We're going to pay the bill. And by the way, that's going to be a lot less expensive. And we'll check it out and be careful. But that's going to be a lot less expensive than what's going on. These people are living in hell. And Hillary Clinton said the Veterans Administration is working just fine. And the head of it, McDonald, said last week that waiting in line's not bad. Look at Disney World, okay? These are the kind of people we have running things. It's ridiculous, Dave.
There's a Rasmussen poll out today that says that half of Americans think Hillary Clinton should stay in the race even if she's charged with a felony. Does that suggest that you're continuing to pound her? Gee, I don't know if she can even run. I don't know if she should run.
Yeah, no, David, I tell you what, that's their choice. You have a party called the Democrats, and they're going to have to make that choice. I think it's probably going to be her because it's rigged. And I think if you people will say, I'm the one that came up with the term rigged, I used it for myself, except I won by such big margins that the fact that the whole system is rigged on both sides. Same with the Republicans, just less obvious. The Democrats with the super, with the whole super delegate thing, it's ridiculous. So I think that they're going to have to make that determination. If you're asking me who I'd prefer running against,
Do you think she committed a felony?
I think what she did was very bad. And I think a lot of people have done a lot less than her, and their lives have been destroyed.
Mr. Trump, as you know, the press exposed the VA issue, so shouldn't the press get some credit for that? And if I may ask you about...
Oh, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Hold it. Go ahead. Wait.
Ask you about Trump University, though, sir, because there have been a lot of questions about that. You also challenged the credibility of the judge handling that case.
Judge has been very unfair, has not done a good job. He's been a very bad judge. He's been very unfair. And I will win the Trump University case. I already am as far as I'm concerned, but I will win the Trump University case. This is because I don't care. Because you know what? Why antagonist? Because I don't care. I have a judge who's very, very unfair. And you'll see it in court documents. But I have a judge who's very, very unfair. He knows he's unfair. And I'll win the Trump University case. I could settle that case. I could have settled it. I just choose not to. In fact, when I ran, they said, why didn't you settle up that case? I don't want to settle the case. Because you know what? Because I'm a man of principle. And most of the people that took those courses have letters saying they thought it was great, essentially. It was good, it was great. And you know what? When they're on the stand and you say, how come you signed a letter saying that Trump University was so good? How come you signed a letter? The woman that was the original plaintiff in the case They went to the court, and the judge allowed her to get out of the case. The case should have been dropped. Whole case should have been dropped. They wanted her dismissed from the case. You know why? Because she was deposed. She was such a bad witness that we win the case easily. She signed a letter, and she's on film. She's on tape, like these cameras, saying unbelievably good things about Trump University. So they didn't want her anymore because she's a disaster for them. So they went to the judge, and they said, Your Honor, we'd like to have her not be a participant, not be the plaintiff in the case. And he said, oh, that's okay. She's the one that started the case. Now, they don't even want her to testify. They don't want her to testify because she's a disaster. She has all sorts of beautiful statements about it. And importantly, she's on tape saying how great it is. They don't want her. I wouldn't want her either. Now, I could have settled that case. I could settle that case. I can settle that case. I don't want to. I'll go through the process. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Because we're down the line. Because we're down the line, and the fact that is you can't win as an independent. For the most part, you can't even get on Texas and various other states now. It's too late, but Texas is out. So but here's what happens. What happens is you will not have, and very importantly, you will not have Supreme Court justices. You're going to lose. You could have as many as 4 or 5. That's over. Now, Kristol's the one he's the last one. Don't forget, he said Trump will never run. The guy's not a smart person. He said Donald Trump will never run. Remember? Do you remember? I actually blame you. Why do you put this guy on television? I see him on the different shows. He's got no credibility. Said I won't run. If I run, I won't do well. If I do well, it's this and that. He looks like such a fool. I saw him on one show. He's practically crying because he can't justify it. Now he comes out with a tweet over the weekend, over Memorial Day weekend. It sounds like he's going to put somebody up. Even I thought it. I thought, oh, they're going to find some indie. Now he comes out with something saying he was almost kidding. Okay? Let me tell you. These people are losers. He's trying to make you, he's trying to drive you guys a little bit nuts. If they do an indie, assuming it's decent, which I don't think anybody with a reputation would do it because they'd look like fools. But what you're going to do is you lose the election for the Republicans, and therefore you lose the Supreme Court. Therefore, you will have a group of people put on the Supreme Court where this country will never, ever recover. It will never, ever be the same.
Mr. Trump, when you refer to some Republicans and conservatives as losers.
No, I'm saying, no, I didn't say that. I said Bill Kristol is a loser. And I'll tell you why, Carl. He has called every single move. Take a look on me. He's going to lose this state. I win in a landslide. Wait a minute, Carl. I didn't say everybody. Many, but I didn't say everybody. Okay, wait. Bill Kristol's a loser. His magazine is failing, as you know. It's going to be down. I don't think it even survives. He's getting some free publicity. But Bill Kristol, I've been watching this for 2 years. Trump isn't going to run. Then I go into a race. We go into New Hampshire. Oh, he's not going to win New Hampshire. Win in a landslide. I go every place I went. I was not going to win, but I win in a landslide. Do you think maybe he doesn't like me? Okay. How about 1 or 2 more? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Today,
Right.
Fred Mallet, Nixon administration official, long-time big financier in Republican politics, who is in fact the finance chairman of the Republican Governors Association.
Okay.
Essentially said today that you have to stop beating up on Republicans. And goes on to say that you essentially got some 30% of the Republican vote.
It's wrong. It's wrong. Carl, I didn't get 30%.
Finish the question, you can have it.
My last one was 78%. I didn't get 30%.
Is it going to make it more difficult?
I don't know.
To unite the party
No,
when you are
no.
criticizing your critics from
No.
within it?
Here's the way I look at it. When I have somebody that's not on my side, okay, by the way, I've gotten great applause from the press and, in terms of as an achievement, because the Republican Party is really well unified. We have come up, people that you would have never thought possible are now saying, I support Trump. So remember that. We don't talk about that too much. But actually, last week, the big story is how fast the Republican Party is healing, because it is a healing process. That was a rough campaign. I don't know, Fred Malik. I can say this. The real story is how fast we're getting together. Now, if I have a Republican that's not on my side, I'm not going to, why should I be particularly nice to that person? I'm not going to go after her like I would Hillary or Crazy Bernie. But you know what? Why should I be nice to that person? If I have a person that's not going to support me, I have no obligation. Now, politically, I may be right, I may be wrong, but that's who I am. I'm a very honest person, Carl. If somebody is going to say a little bit negative or a lot negative about me, and if they happen to be a Republican, I may choose to hit them back. Not always, but I may choose to hit them back. What?
Right. In the last week, you said that the former Republican nominee walks like a penguin. You criticized Susanna Martinez.
I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney lost an election that he should have won. And if you read the front page of the Wall Street Journal about Mitt Romney, he looks like a fool. Look, I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney, just so you understand. I raised a lot of money for Mitt Romney. I made robocalls for him, made speeches for him. He let us down. If you read the front page of the Wall Street Journal this weekend, Mitt Romney looks like a fool. Now, why would I say good about Mitt Romney? She was not nice, and I was fine, just a little bit of a jab, but she wasn't nice, and you think I'm going to change? I'm not changing, including with her. Go ahead, one more question. Bob Dole is a fan of mine. Bob Dole endorsed me, so don't tell me about Bob Dole. Well, look, Gary Johnson got 1% of the vote last time. I watched that whole situation. It was really pretty disgraceful. I think it's a total fringe deal. I think he's a fringe candidate. You want to know the truth? I look at him and I watch his motions and I watch what he says. I think that he is a fringe candidate. And your second, Weld is, when you do a little research on that, I think it's not going to be a factor. Okay? Yeah. No, not all of you, just many of you. Not you, David, actually.
Is this what it's going to be like?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Let me tell you something. I'm a person. Okay, yeah, it is going to be like this, David. If the press writes false stories, like they did with this, because, half of you are amazed that I raised all of this money. If the press writes false stories, like they did where I wanted to keep a low profile. I didn't want the credit for raising all this money for the vets. I wasn't looking for the credit. And by the way, more money is coming in. I wasn't looking for the credit. But I had no choice but to do this because the press was saying I didn't raise any money for them. Not only did I raise it, much of it was given a long time ago. And there is a vetting process, and I think you understand that. But when I raise almost $6 million, and probably in the end we'll raise more than 6 because more is going to come in and is coming in. But when I raise 5.6 million as of today, more is coming in, and this is going to phenomenal groups, and I have many of these people vetting the people that are getting the money and working hard, and then we have to read probably libelous stories, or certainly close, in the newspapers, and the people know the stories are false. I'm going to continue to attack the press. Look, I find the press to be extremely dishonest. I find the political press to be unbelievably dishonest. I will say that. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.